It's that time of the year again, the time where we blow all our money on games we're never ever going to play. This year, I thought I'd do something a little bit different. I thought I'd talk about games for people who are just starting out with their PC, their Steam library. You know, they might have built a brand new PC and they might be excited to play those brand new video games, but maybe they got a little extra money left over. They don't, or you know, they're broke and they can't afford all the $60 games yet. So, how about some cheaper games that I feel are essential to everyone's Steam library? So here we go. Alright, so before we jump into the list, I want to mention two games that I really like, but they're not on sale for as cheap as I'd like them to be, if at all. And the first one is going to be the Civilization V Complete Edition bundle, and the second is the Elder Scrolls V Legendary Edition. So Civilization V is still on sale to some degree. You can get it with the complete amount of DLC. The problem is that there's so much DLC for this game that it's kind of artificially inflated the price. I remember you could actually get the Gold Edition with all the DLC, or at least with the two main expansions that you actually want, for like $10, $9.99. So this is a complete ripoff, if I'm going to be totally honest. And with the Elder Scrolls V, you can buy the Skyrim Special Edition, which is kind of like this complete edition with all the DLC built in, with some enhancements. The problem is that it's not mod friendly, so Skyrim with mods is like the intended way to play it, basically, and they're selling this version that doesn't really play nicely with mods. You can still get mods on it, but you're pretty much shooting yourself in the foot if you buy this version over the Legendary Edition, because the Special Edition just has way less mod support than the original did. If you want to get these two games, you can still find them on third-party key sites. Just be very careful. Kinguin or Fanatical or G2A sometimes. I would just be very careful when you're going to these sites, because the problem is that they'll try to add stuff to your cart at the end. Say like, oh hey, would you like to pay for our premium subscription service where you don't get billed for fraud? I've been buying from these sites for years. I don't encourage it very often, but I will say in this case, if you do want these games, give it a shot there. Just be very careful when you're putting in your information. But that's it, though. Let's get on to the games that the publishers actually want you to buy. You're not going to make me buy Skyrim again, Todd. So some of these games are a little bit old, but that's the whole point here. They're old, cheap, and they're really good. Anyway, this is Super Meat Boy. This is a tough as nails 2D platformer, and don't be put off if you don't like 2D platforms. I'm not really the biggest fan of them either, but holy crap, I really enjoyed this game on 360, and I picked it up on PC because I loved it so much. So this game has a bunch of extra levels to play with. You have basically a set of levels that are considered the light world, and then if you ace them, you can do the dark world variants of each of those levels. So the game has a lot of scaling difficulty. If you don't think it's hard enough, well, try playing the entire game in the dark mode world. It's a lot harder. Anyway, you have the option of skipping some levels in every stage. So the idea is that you have to save your girlfriend from a guy named Dr. Fetus. Yeah, the humor's a little bit weird, and actually it's a little dark at times, but basically, you have to do a set of levels for every stage, and you don't have to complete all of them, just enough to progress the game. And of course, you can do all of them if you want, like the A+, and the Dark World, and the extra characters and stuff like that. And there's bonus levels, of course. The general idea is you get better as you play, so you're not going to be worried about, you know, constantly getting frustrated in the newer levels. You're going to be improving as you go, but so is the game. So it's going to get harder, but it's going to get progressively harder. It's going to be a really reasonable, fun challenge. It's a great game. It's really straightforward to get into, and it's a ton of fun. It's frustrating, but it can be very forgiving. Repent, sinners, gay Ben will take all of your Epic Store money. This is the Valve Complete Pack, and it is great. So you have a bunch of older multiplayer games that not a whole lot of people play anymore, but they still have their communities, like Day of Defeat Source, and Counter-Strike Source, which was one of my favorite games, one of my first games on Steam. It was awesome. But you have the single-player games, the classics like Half-Life 1 and 2 with their expansions. Now, Half-Life does have a remake on Steam called Black Mesa. It's basically Half-Life 1, but with a brand new engine to play it on, so it's aged a little bit better in that regard, technically. But Half-Life 2 on this list does have some newer updates to it that have improved the game a little bit. So there's that. You also have Left 4 Dead 1 and 2, great multiplayer games, although you're going to want to play Left 4 Dead 2 over 1 because the community's better, and also all the expansions and all the levels and everything from Left 4 Dead 1 are just in 2 straight up. So, you know, just play Left 4 Dead 2. You also have Portal 1 and 2, you know, good, short, single-player games. Portal 2 does have a local multiplayer option, which is always nice. You also have the free games in here, so if you were interested in getting, like, Team Fortress 2 or Counter-Strike Global Offensive, you could just, you know, download those. But anyway, you know, good selection of games for $10, $11. Old, but gold. Age of Empires 3. This game leans a little bit more on nostalgia than I'd like in terms of recommending it, so if you want a game that I'd say is mechanically very fun, and interesting and not a little bit janky, you could try Halo Wars Definitive Edition. I wanted to include Age of Empires 2, but it's, you know, it's still got as many problems as 3. In fact, I think it's actually worse. And 3 doesn't really have a working multiplayer either. I also wanted to recommend Company of Heroes, but that's not on sale, so... And Warcraft 3 is not on Steam either, so, you know, Age of Empires 3, it's going to be a recommendation I'm going to make, but a little bit cautious here. It's $9.99, so it's fairly cheap. It's got all the expansions, so the War Chiefs and the Asian Dynasties. It's got a lot of campaigns, too, built in. You got a lot of factions, you have the card system. This game tried to do a lot, and it ended up succeeding fairly well. I'd say a lot of people like it more than I do, and I still have it in mixed regards, so... you know, bear that in mind. The multiplayer doesn't work quite as well as it used to. You're probably going to have to go through some third-party alternative. If you want a, you know, less jank, newer RTS, you can try, from Microsoft, you can try Halo Wars, which is like $7.50, but that's pretty much just an Xbox port. So, it was designed for a controller. You know, it's still fun, but I would try out Age of Empires 3 because you're getting, for that $2.50 more, you're getting a lot more to your value. The physics in this game look amazing still. The way buildings just explode and from cannon fire, and the way they light on fire from like enemy fire attacks, it's just amazing. The ship combat is really cool. The problem again is that it's just a little bit jank, it's a little bit old. Age of Empires 2 was the king of base building to me at one point, and Age of Empires 3 kind of ditched that for more unit combat. You can still build bases, of course, but the units are at the forefront, and the physics are a little bit weird, though, when you're controlling these units. Sometimes they get stuck, sometimes they move really, 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 really slow, and then sometimes they move a little bit fast. So, again, it's a little bit jank, but it's a classic, and you should at least give it a shot. Yeah, I know, it's 10 years old, but it's still a really fun game. Borderlands The Handsome Collection. Holy crap, this is an amazing deal. $6 basically gets you every Borderlands game on Steam, minus the Tales from the Borderlands games, which you can't get anymore because Telltale and the licensing, whatever. Those are not even related to the main franchise other than the story and the characters. If you want a good looter-shooter, Borderlands 1 is a very fun game. If you want to play with friends, Borderlands 2 is very fun. Borderlands the pre-sequel, not that great. Cool news, before Borderlands 3 comes out, they're actually doing a little promotional thing. They added some free DLC to Borderlands 2. Some people say it's not that great, but hey, it's free DLC. And you get all the DLC for the other games as well. So you pretty much get everything in one place. And for $6, I don't even like Borderlands that much. I've never really gotten into it. But for this price, for like a new Steam library, you just pack your library full of stuff to do. This is a great value. It's honestly better than the Valve pack, and yeah, get it. It's worth buying it. And if you already own it, buy it for a friend. Play together. Whatever. It's $6. Come on. Alright, that's pretty much it for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I did want to cover a few more games, but most of the games I did want to cover are already talked about in my previous video on Steam sales. You can check that out. It's actually pretty much still accurate because a lot of the games are still on sale as they were back then too. But anyway, that's a video about AAA games for under $5 that you can get. Pretty good value, honestly. Most of the DLC is included, if not all of it. So yeah, give that a shot if you want to get some more games. I just wanted to list some of my PC favorites and some of the games I got when I first started out my library. Games that I feel are just part of this platform, you know, PC exclusive features, extra content, cool exclusives, you know, stuff like that. Weird, different, but still common games. Anyway, guys, I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. I'm out.